A couple of things. One, I was watching C-SPAN and a guy wrote a book, a brand new book, and it was mainly about McCarthy, but it was kind of tied in with Whitakker Chambers, and he was saying much of what happened to Whitakker Chambers happened to McCarthy, and he was citing things I had never, ever heard. Everything I'd ever heard in college and everything I ever read was McCarthy was this evil monster, and he was falsely accusing everybody. This guy documented all of the other stuff they had along with Whitakker Chambers. And another thing he talked about was with Whitakker Chambers and, well, maybe with Whitakker Chambers, it was a lot of partisanship, that it was a Democratic administration. They were terrified to say that all these moles of the Soviet Union are in their administration, so that complicated the matters. The one thing that you said, although I think this is a phenomenal program, this is just so enlightening, but you said the exerting influence over others that was, was somehow a negative. That's why I understood it. Maybe I got it wrong, but it seemed that Whitakker Chambers, that the power that he had was going against the powerful. Every bit of the power of it, and I've seen this over and over. And you get power together, and power becomes taboo to disagree with. When they've got everything and you've got nothing, and you're trying to speak to power. Is the most difficult thing. It's terrifying to people. Having a group disagree with a group is terrifying. A powerful group did everything on your side and trying to influence them, to me, is the height of courage. So maybe I got that wrong in terms of your view.
No, I think Chambers did demonstrate tremendous courage, but I also think at the end of the day, why he prevailed. First, as every parent tells children, tell the truth. And Chambers was telling the truth. But I also think that, and this is why it's such a powerful witness, he was willing to go forward and put all at risk to simply say, this is what it was. And the humility of that weakness, in other words, really almost in one sense, I'm putting it all at risk. I'm not going to hold back. I want my job, at that time, $30,000 a time was a big number. Well, I'm going to parse some of what I say here because I don't want to go too far down this line. He literally let the truth come out, and and this is why when you read the book and you see all these people swirling around and all the best people really beating up Chambers, and how can this, all sorts of accusations were made about him, and of the worst sort. But it really is the humility of and in one sense, it's the paradox of weakness. And it's why you die to live, and you serve to lead, and you give to receive, and so many other things. Because at that point, that then becomes the greatest power. And that's what Chambers demonstrated. What I'm talking about in the sense in which, in this question about whether there are different attributes of communism around, if you again go to the deepest part of what the struggle is, it's the struggle in the human heart to dominate others and to change them, rather than really what, frankly, the oldest philosophy teaches, which is that you have to die to yourself rather than imposing yourself. And those two different versions of the world bring forth two very different kinds of communities. And you see different aspects of each one of them all around the world and in every family. And in every family, because it is the nature of who we are as people. And that's why grace and love, forgiveness, all of those attributes, first of all, they're hard to develop. I used to, as Randall said, coach Little League Baseball. You take the kids out in April and it's cold, it's windy, and it's all that sort of stuff. These kids are all bundled up and whatever, and you're supposed to be catching these fly balls or fielding these grounders, getting up there and hitting, and they're missing the shot, they're missing the ball, dropping the ball, whatever it may be. And then by July, if you got a good little team, coaches with you and whatever, all of a sudden they're fielding the grounders and they're doing these things because you practice with them. You've worked on their grounders, you've worked on their hitting, you've worked on their catching. Those habits to be a good ball player are really the same thing of the habits of our hearts. We spend so much time on the external things and so little time on developing the habits of our heart, and that's what will shape a different kind of politics, a different kind of community that brings freedom, really the kind of sustainability that I think is the natural order of what God calls us to do. Thank you all very, very much.